At the start of episode 1129, when Bonnie grabs a sword and charges at Saturn, stabbing him and making his beard bleed, everyone from Luffy's group to the Marines is stunned, unable to believe Bonnie dared to do such a thing to one of the five elders. The tension skyrockets and the Vice Admiral reports to the five elders that Saint Saturn has set foot on the island, causing the Marines to be utterly terrified and confused, not understanding when Saint Saturn arrived without their knowledge. The Vice Admiral orders everyone who isn't a Vice Admiral to evacuate the central town to avoid being mistakenly killed by Saint Saturn. The Marines, gripped by fear, run for their lives and don't dare look back. The Vice Admiral commands all Marines on the island not to look at Saturn's face, or they'll all turn to dust. The Marine comrades are in a panic because a saint of the entire world has come all the way here from Mary Geos. All the Marines are dumbfounded. Vegapunk is still in complete shock seeing Bonnie stab one of the five saints of the One Piece world. He's extremely scared and doesn't understand what Bonnie is doing in front of a monster like Saturn. Surely she can't cause him any harm. The Vice Admiral also teleports to where Bonnie is piercing Saturn and can't believe his eyes. One of the five saints of the world is being stabbed by a little brat like Bonnie. He then orders all nearby Vice Admirals to aim at Bonnie and prepare to open fire. All the Vice Admirals are getting ready to attack Bonnie. Sanji is terrified and doesn't know what else to do. Vegapunk tells Bonnie to run away from him because she won't be able to hurt him at all. Bonnie is about to threaten Saturn when he cuts her off. He tells Bonnie to shut up because she's just an insect. His eyes turn red and shoot out a laser. Bonnie, caught off guard, collapses before she can cause any damage to him. While unconscious from the blast, Bonnie is grabbed by him. Sanji, furious seeing the person he likes about to be executed, rushes to save Bonnie and takes a laser hit like hers, leaving him barely alive. The stab that seemed to pierce Saturn's heart turns out to be just a surface wound. He pulls out the sword and the wound heals on its own. Sanji, hit by just one basic attack, is gasping for breath when Luffy's side is at a disadvantage. The Vice Admiral squad seizes the chance to capture Vegapunk as they rush to arrest him. Saturn scolds them as scoundrels for being too eager. Since Luffy's group has nowhere left to escape, let Saturn toy with them. Then he turns to Kizaru, berating him because this isn't Kizaru's usual style and he looks utterly pathetic. Kizaru can only apologize and has no excuses for his uselessness after being beaten to a pulp by Luffy, unable to even move to stand and greet Saint Saturn. It's hilarious that Luffy is also lying nearby, groaning non-stop while in his Nika form. Saturn intends to finish Luffy off, but luckily Franky quickly unleashes his strong right move, punching Luffy to another spot to avoid being killed by Saturn. Saturn praises Franky and right after Franky pulls Luffy back into his hand to ensure the captain's safety. Saturn talks about the appearance of Luffy and Bonnie. He truly didn't anticipate that this battle would involve the two of them, forcing him, one of the five elders, to take the field. Saturn turns to Vegapunk, feeling regret that Vegapunk betrayed him and thanking him for his past contributions to the Marines. Saturn doesn't know who to eliminate and, as a joke, suggests learning everyone's names and eliminating them alphabetically. Saturn wants Vegapunk to feel regret for betraying the world government. Right after saying this, he uses his laser eye move again with Luffy as the chosen target. Even from a distance and in Franky's hands, Luffy is blasted far away. Right after Bonnie wakes up in Saturn's grip, struggling to break free but to no avail. The more she struggles, the tighter Saturn squeezes and she screams in agony. Sanji tries to rush to her rescue but is stopped by Saturn's aura, rendering everyone in Luffy's group unable to move. Even Alas' strength can't budge. Truly, this is the terrifying power of one of the five elders. Vegapunk is certain this is the power of his devil fruit and worries for Bonnie. Bonnie curses Saturn for being the one who killed her father. He explains that her father was a special-class slave of the world government, so his death was an honor. Suddenly, her father's spirit appears, talking about the justice he always aimed for and wanting to be like Nika, the warrior of liberation. Saturn orders all Marines to raise their guns and aim at Bonnie's head. Suddenly, Bonnie recalls images from the past when she and her father were playing together. Sanji and Vegapunk can only scream and beg because Bonnie is still just a child. It seems Bonnie has accepted her fate and closes her eyes, reminiscing about the beautiful childhood memories with her father. The scene shifts to 47 years ago in the Sorbet Kingdom in South Blue, at a small village where Kuma, Bonnie's father, was born. Right after, it seems Kuma had something unusual about him from birth, so his father whispered to the doctor, hoping he wouldn't tell anyone. Kuma's small family was joyful, welcoming baby Kuma into the world. For years after Kuma was born, while Kuma and his family were cooking, the doctor who delivered Kuma rushed in, telling Kuma's father and family to flee because the world government's agents had come to the hospital and interrogated the doctor. They had learned the secret of Kuma's family. Just as he finished speaking, the doctor was kicked by a world government agent for trying to help Kuma's family escape. Those agents drew their guns and threatened Kuma's family to come with them. Despite fighting bravely, Kuma's entire family was captured. His father wailed because only he carried the Buccaneer blood, not his wife. He begged the world government to take only him, pleading not to take his wife because she didn't have that blood. He sobbed and begged, only to be punched by them. When the whole family was locked in prison, Kuma remained cheerful, and his mother tried to comfort him that everything would be okay. Tragedy struck when Kuma's family was separated, each locked in a different place. His parents tried to encourage Kuma that they'd soon reunite, though they knew it would never happen, and told him to stay strong. Day after day, though just a child, Kuma was brutally tortured by the celestial dragons. Despite being a kid, he was tormented daily in extreme suffering. One day, after being beaten by the celestial dragons, Kuma reunited with his father and heard the shocking news that his mother had died and was in heaven, tortured to death by the celestial dragons. This scene is incredibly emotional, so watch the anime directly because it will make you cry. His father began encouraging Kuma that someone would free him, and that was the legendary warrior Nika, passed down in the Buccaneer tribe. Kuma's father believed that one day Nika would come and take Kuma out to freedom. Thanks to his father's encouragement, young Kuma smiled and found the motivation to keep living. But before the joy could last, his father was shot dead by a celestial dragon for making noise. Kuma's fate was utterly tragic. 38 years ago, when Kuma had grown up in West Blue, the celestial dragons were holding a perverse tournament called the Native Hunting Competition on God Valley Island. They treated the island's people and even the king as their property for easy slaughter. When the king of the land argued with them about justice, he was immediately slashed and killed by Garling. All the perverse celestial dragons cheered wildly. Right after, grown-up Kuma broke his cage and officially escaped from the perverse celestial dragons. The announcement of his escape rang out. Kuma could only walk and cry in the fields, but soon after, he was recaptured by the same prisoners who were with him. He could only cry and scream in despair. The moment Kuma was caught was the first time Saturn heard about this child, a Buccaneer. While Kuma was being dragged back by the other slaves for daring to escape, he encountered a young Emporio Ivankov and his sister. Emporio Ivankov was surprised to find a boy with giant-like blood like Kuma. Ivankov cursed the slaves as pathetic for not knowing how to enjoy life. Ivankov and Ginny told the slaves about the Revolutionary Army's plan and chose to live, leaving Kuma wide-eyed for finding the truth of his life. Episode 1129 ends there. Thank you all for following, and don't miss episode 1130 of One Piece.